is going to be an intro to anxiety. So ultimately, to kind of summarize my goal for this video is to bring awareness to anxiety, panic disorders, and then ultimately I would hope for you guys to let me know what next video on anxiety that you'd like to see. So I'm going to be covering some of the topics from a very high level, but leave a comment in this post to see and tell me what you want to see. And so ultimately, I have had anxiety since I was 14 years old. I'm currently 26 years old right now. And looking back to see what caused my anxiety is very difficult to do. But three things that I think of when I look back at that time. First is that I have an introverted personality, and that could have caused a lot of different things and situations and scenarios to lead me to anxiety, especially in high school. Two, I don't have a good relationship with my mom, and certain things while living with my mom I think caused my anxiety to get to where it was and also get worse over time. Third is around an MRI that I got done on my back and how terrifying it was. It was very scary being stuck in a place for an hour and a half and feeling the way that I did. And I think that really also put me in a state of panic in certain situations that to this day I have triggers that I could also talk about in a future video. Now, for those who have never experienced anxiety before, it is very difficult to understand the magnitude of effect that an anxiety attack has on someone's mental and physical state. And really, this video is in hopes to bring awareness that in case there's someone close to you, a family, friend, or acquaintance that you find out that is suffering from anxiety, at least it gives you that ability to empathize with them and really get a better understanding of why things may be happening to them, and it's not their fault. Honestly, anxiety sometimes just happens, and we just have to have the resources and tools to get through and overcome the anxiety. So hopefully this video can bring awareness to this disorder and bring a different light on mental health, because it is very hard for people to talk about it because at least for my personal experiences, it's very embarrassing. I felt very self-conscious about the way others would look at me if I told them that I had a panic attack. But I've been able to gain more confidence every single day in sharing with others what I've been through, and through that specific or those specific conversations, I've actually learned so many more people that have suffered through anxiety, friends and family that also have had attacks before, but they were never willing to share because they felt like they were alone and that they would be looked at in a different way. So just the fact that I was able to reach out and share had me understanding that I'm also not the only one suffering silently here, that there are other people going through anxiety on a daily basis. And I think this is just a really big issue that we need to all change, and we all need to empower and support each other through, because there are so many more people going through this than we know. From a high level, Anxiety is like it triggers a fight or flight response in the body. So for me personally, it starts from the mental state. So what I call negative or worst case thinking. And as soon as those thoughts start creeping in my brain, it just continues to the point where then my physical state is affected, where it could be an increased heart rate or shortness of breath or the inability to think or see anything besides what is triggering me and zoning my brain in on. So I like to think of it from a flight response. So imagine that you're being chased by a bear and that bear is running after you and you're running as well, because if you don't keep going, then you're not going to survive. And the misconception here is that with anxiety being the bear, we have to figure out what is it that we need to do in order to overcome and defeat the bear. And so I don't live in like a wilderness region. I'm in the Midwest in Illinois, so there's no bears around me. So I had to research this, but in order to defeat a bear, you have to scream and yell and making this all within a low voice and keeping your stance and confronting the bear and not running away. And so I like to think of it like, instead of running away from our anxiety, we all have to confront it and we all have to do what it takes to say, I'm going to defeat anxiety and it's going to not continue down this downward spiral. And so in future videos, I can potentially kind of go through some of my personal tactics that I've done to first understand, okay, I see a bear far in the distance. So I kind of know that an anxiety attack could be coming soon. So to notice the symptoms, to notice my physical state and how it's changing, similar to previous experiences I've had in knowing that an anxiety attack is going to come. And second, to confront the anxiety. So confronting the bear instead of running away. So confronting the bear head on will help you overcome the anxiety attack quicker than it would be to just continue down the downward spiral and running away. And so I can hopefully share some of the tactics that I do while I am having an anxiety attack, and that had resolved my attacks quicker than it did without doing anything else. And then thirdly, I can also go into some of the things that I do to prevent ever seeing the bear in the first place or prevent ever having an anxiety attack. So, and those can be stress relief techniques, my eating habits, my beverage habits, the kind of things that I do to make sure that my body and my mental state is in a good place or in a better place than it would be to get an anxiety attack. And so ultimately, I've done some research into it. I'm not a medical professional. I'm really just here trying to help spread this awareness. I'm trying to help others get the support that they need to speak out and hopefully overcome some of the daily or whatever the frequency is of attacks that you guys get. So in summary, anxiety is such a debilitating thing that has affected my life, where I was going from daily attacks to now it's been about 6 months since I've had my last anxiety attack. So to me, that is such an accomplishment, and I am going to continue to do those things from trying to acknowledge and understand when an anxiety attack is coming and nipping it in the bud right away, the things that I do to confront the anxiety attack to eliminate it right away, and then also the most important thing is preventing any anxiety attacks to happen in the future. And so I really have a variety of different things I can talk about. So some of the topics that I can talk about are just doing an anxiety 101, just from the research that I've done so far and relating it to the running away from the bear analogy. I can also go into a little bit more deeper on how my anxiety started and some of those 3 topics that I mentioned earlier in this video. I can talk about my triggers that I have today of what I know from my past experiences have given me an anxiety attack, and what I do in order to prepare myself if I am going to do a similar activity in the future. Also, I can talk about some of the avoidance that I had before knowing that, let's say I do have a fear of flying, and subconsciously from a travel perspective, I would say, oh, let's go on a road trip or let's do something, and it always never include having to fly somewhere. And so that was me avoiding a fear that I had, because in every single case of taking a plane, I would have an anxiety attack. So I could always do a video on that as well. And I also experienced the most traumatic events in my life, where my dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2015 and ended up passing away in 2016. And when I first found out that he had cancer, I knew I had this disorder. I knew I had panic attacks and anxiety, and I just didn't think I was going to get through it. I didn't think I was going to survive, and it was just something that I had negative thoughts of, just the situation, and then just my ability and my confidence in myself to be able to get through it. But I can tell you today, I'm here. It's 2017. I am alive and I'm thriving, and I haven't had an anxiety attack for 6 months. So I can talk about some of the things that I did and really the mental shift I had to make within my mindset in order to get through that really tough experience. And so those are some topics. If there's anything else that you're interested in, let me know and comment below. And ultimately, my goal here is to bring awareness to anxiety and also to help support you who have anxiety attacks to feel comfortable enough to share your stories and to seek help. And hopefully I can help in some way. And so if I can just help one person have less frequent anxiety attacks or potentially eliminate them for a long period of time, that will be my accomplishment for this whole STEAMIT experience. And I feel like I would have made an impact in the world if I could just do that one thing. So please share your stories. Please let me know if anything that I talk about has helped you in any way. And I know it's really, really hard to stay positive when you have anxiety, because it brings you down time and time again, and you feel like every corner you take, it just brings you down, and you have to work twice as hard to just pick yourself back up. But trust me, I've been able to get to a better place now than I even was a year ago, 5 years ago, and 10 years ago. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You can feel better, and I hope to be one thing in your life that can help you get to that point. So thank you so much for everybody who watched and who listened to the video. Please let me know if this was beneficial to you, valuable, and if you want to hear more. Again, leave a comment below. Tell me what you want to hear next, and I know that we can fight through this together. So thanks everybody for listening, and keep fighting.